So while my pastry is chilling, I'm going to make a filling for my little pasty that I'm going to make for our dinner tonight. So what I'm going to start off with is onions and garlic. This is all just leftover, whatever's in the fridge, whatever you're having yourself. Onions and garlic, olive oil, a teaspoon of cumin, teaspoon of coriander, real whole, toast them and then grind them. Much nicer than straight out of buying the ground ones. But anyway, that's just my little tip. So I'm going to get all that ready and see how it tastes and then fling something else into it if needs be. So here we have our onion, garlic, spice, pepper mix with lots of olive oil. I'm blanching my beans, and I also decided to put some dried apricots, which I'm soaking in water. Now these are those dark brown ones. Now I can't quite work out, Sarah Fitzgerald, don't laugh, I can't quite work out whether these are those fancy posh ones that are unsulfated, therefore they're brown, or whether they've been in my pantry for so long they've just gone brown. But I think a little bit of water will bring them back to life. I have my half tin of chickpeas ready to go. I also have all this chicken. This really feels like a veggie. I have also found some very bedraggled coriander in my garden. It's the kind of tail end of the summer crop, so I'm going to strip that off and put some of that in too. I think it might be nice. So my coriander is in. Coriander, I've always found coriander kind of hard to grow from seed. What I do every year is where is it? I buy about 2 plants in Lidl and I split them into about 10 bits and plant them in the garden, and they'll last the whole season. But that's an aside. So here we are. I decided to add a little squirt of tomato puree just to help bring it all together. I don't want this to be too wet because I don't want the pastry to get soggy. So there's my mixture. I'm going to stir it up and I'm going to let it cool. And when everything's ready, we'll assemble it into our pasty and see what happens. At this stage, guys, don't forget to taste it. Salt and pepper, whatever you think it needs. Because it's going to taste kind of different when it's cold. But taste it, tweak it if you like. There is no recipe for this. I'm just winging it as I go. And I'll come back. Okay, so here we are again with our pasties. Right, so I actually managed to get 3 circles out. And I've rolled them a bit thinner. They're kind of the same thickness as they would be for an apple pie or something. So, now I've never made these before, guys. So bear with me. But I did watch a video about how to crimp the edges, which apparently is a very important. If you're doing a classic Cornish pasty, it's one of those things that has to be done properly, or the Cornishers would get very offended. So I'm not sure. I think that's probably enough filling. Let's just do one first and see how it works. So it says 2, maybe a little bit more. You want a good clear bit around the edges so you can seal it, and you're going to brush it with eggs, with a little bit of egg. These are the lovely eggs that I trade with the guys I work for in Dingle for milk. It's a great job. I give them 2 litres of milk every week and they give me half a dozen eggs, and they're lovely and free range and lovely. Okay, so here we go. I think this looks like I might put too much filling, but we'll see how it looks. So you basically just, I'm not sure if you can see that. I'm not quite organised enough for this long. So here we are. Okay, it's a bit more visible. So you've got your clear edges and you're going to fold it over. I think the traditional Cornish pastry is probably a bit more robust than this, but here we go. So you seal it. That's very important. See, they make a different kind of pastry. But anyway, look, sure, we're all learning. Now, if any of you have been following the Real Bake Off, Paul Hollywood got very excited about how many crimps there were on the edges and whether they were crimped properly. I've never crimped these before, but I watched the video, so let's see. You put your finger in and you roll it over. Then you put your finger in again and you roll it over again, and you put your finger in again and you roll it over again, and so on. Apparently, the purists say there should be 20 crimps, but you know what? We'll just keep going until they're done. If you moistened your finger here, no, maybe if you moistened your finger it would stick to it actually. Maybe if you put a little bit of flour on your fingers it would be better. So, That looks pretty good. My first ever Cornish pasty. It's definitely the wrong kind of pastry. You can see the stuff is kind of not quite robust enough, but I still think it's going to be lovely. And marginally better for you than an apple pie. But brush it with egg, which I've dribbled all over the counter. So my oven is hot, my pasties are cold. Now Paul Hollywood and his 20 crimps, I don't even know how you count the crimps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, not bad. Whatever, there you go. Anyway, not exactly for the purists, but we'll give it a go. And I'm going to stick them in the oven now, and I'm going to start with 30 minutes. And see how they look. Okay, so these babies have had about 33 minutes. I set the timer for 30 minutes. I was on the phone to my mother. I didn't want to hang up on her. That's plenty. That's actually loads. I think if they were real Cornish pasties with that slightly bulkier pastry, they would be a bit fatter. But you know what? They look fine, and I'll cut into them in a minute and we'll have a look. And tonight we'll have them for our dinner. So that's that sorted. So I've actually decided to just have half of one of these for my lunch. The pastry is really crumbly and really lovely. I think I can safely say I've never made such nice pastry. So make it, it's yummy. My consultant, assistant chef, my husband and tester of all recipes, reckons that for that amount of filling it could have taken some more spices, which I agree. He also thinks that chickpeas don't bring much to the party, which I disagree. So there we go. Enjoy your lunch.